Hello, spirit friends. Welcome to my channel where we be keeping a Jeep so you can rise and be awoken and no longer sleep. And today's topic is going to be about love yourself first. And I want to start by saying that I picked this second topic just because it's a lot that go along with loving yourself first. I feel like we all want to love another person, especially as we get older and we start to feel ourselves and start thinking we look like something and we more than what we may be. We start to want to involve another person. And I feel like we don't never start with fully loving ourselves. And I feel like that starts at home. And a lot of people don't know what loving yourself is. They think they do because it's ego. Loving yourself first dissolves and resolves all the chaos and the problems. So I want you guys to know that loving yourself first is the start in the proper way. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. So let's get into the topic. Love yourself first is the topic. So, question one for keeping the Jeep: can love be taught, or is it just something you have to feel? I feel like yes, seeing love is you getting taught. I'm not saying get taught literally like it's a book to how to love someone. No, you have to be you have to have seen love, be actually cherished and someone loving someone before, and you just start seeing your household, your father loving your mother or your mother loving your father. And if you didn't see that, you really don't know what love is. You basically jumping off a limb and doing your own thing. And most of the time, it never results in love until you actually go through trials and tribulations, and then you finally, find out that, dang, I've never been loved for real before. From my own people, like my own inside of my home, it never was really love there. So yes, it's actually one answer to this. Yes, love has to be taught because you have to see it first in order to know that true feeling and know how to either you move with the groove of love. Love comes in a dime a dozen in different ways, and it's kind of hard to just pinpoint one thing, and it comes in a lot of ways. So yes, you have to be taught it. Question two on keeping the Jeep: is love a belief, or does everybody have it? I feel like if you have a soul, I feel like a lot of earthbenders on earth right now, all of us is called basically earthbenders. Well, I call it earthbenders. We all earthbenders, and it's different realms, so it's different benders. We are earthbenders. So when it comes to just men that I've seen 40-some-year-old, 50-year-old men that's still on the same type of time that 20-year-olds are on right now, and I just turned 30, so these guys are on the same level of these 20-year-olds, and they still don't get it. Those are guys with no souls. They are just here to just roam the earth and be a distraction, what I call it. Question three for keeping it G: could we all have been groomed some way in loving the family we were born in, or is it just all natural? It's deep. In a way, most families were groomed, especially the black families. I don't know how any other race families operate, but when it comes to the black families, I feel like a lot of these things are grooming, especially when it comes to love, because there's a lot of siblings and a lot of uncles and aunties that hate each other, never liked each other, and it be for like reasons that ain't got nothing to do with them. It be because the mama took the other daughter in, and the other daughter had to go with somebody else. Things happen, and it ain't your fault as the siblings, So we were taught that we supposed to love these people and all these things because they are siblings, but in reality, a lot of times people hate them, hate their siblings, and it just sucks, Speaking just for everybody and people that go through these things, it sucks. It really does. Going on to question four. That was a big question. Question four on keeping it Jeep: if loving someone is natural, does that mean losing love for someone has to be forced? I feel like yes and no. Because this person have things they haven't dealt with within that they start having problems with you because of their own self insecurities and things that they haven't worked on. It kind of like makes the stage at that point forced. Because when you stop loving someone, it's because it's something they did. They have to face it. They have to do something about it. Or you do. You're forced to do that at that point because you didn't want to do that. You wanted to love this person. But being that this person couldn't get his things, couldn't get, or she couldn't get her things together, so now you were forced to part ways. So love does start off natural, but it can be forced with the walk away, because some people just don't get it together. So question 5 on Keeping It Jeep. What makes love hard in society today on any level of relationship? I feel like what makes love hard now, people don't love their self before they go around, start saying they love someone else. So it makes it hard to believe these things that this person is saying that they have for you. When you operating out of love, you bound to understand a lot of things. You bound to, see things for what it is. Be honest, because you already being honest with yourself, and that's what a lot of people miss. So with that being said, I want to get into question 6 for Keeping It Jeep. Do you think most people use the word love more than actually having the feeling behind the word? Ooh, you're gonna go through a lot. You're gonna go through a lot of trouble first. I'm a victim of that. I have to go through a lot of trouble first before me get to this point to even talk to you guys. I couldn't do this years ago because I was having love yourself first problems. A lot of people don't touch on these subjects and they think they just, loving. Their love out this world. No. If you flawed out when it comes to, what your partner wants and you're not willing to do the work to fix it, you don't have the love for yourself. Question 7 for Keeping It G. Could failed love lives of family members and parents be the number one reason of the chaos today? Man. Yes. I feel like, to be honest, if we not loved right at home, man, the world gonna hit you with a hammer. And you might have to sit down for a while. And what I mean by sit down for a while, you might have to go through some trials and tribulations. Rather it's jail time, rather it's relationship problems, rather it's fallouts with friends, rather it's, neglecting things that you feel and using substances to try to get through it. Just a fact. It sucks. It sucks. Question 8 for Keeping It Jeep. If love was non-existent to the universe and we never felt that feeling before, could the world we live in be possibly better or worse? The world would be much better. Because, for one, we got to always know this. What comes up must come down. So without love, there's no hate. Without hate, there's no love. We made it that way, but that's just the truth of the matter. Can't have one without the other. This world will be operating out of its truest self, the purest form, in order to get to that next dimension that we all should want to be on. In order to navigate life and navigate these dimensions without any flaws. And I feel like that love and hate thing is a big barrier why people just don't get to that next dimension or just get to where they want to be in life in whatever dimension they're in. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know how you guys feel about my questions, about my topics, about just keeping it Jeep. And with that being said, well, that's all I have for you guys on today's vlog of Keeping It Jeep. An open mind should evolve when consciously teached.